Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Dota Pit Season 5 European Qualifier Finals. It's Elements Pro Gaming taking on OG Dota, and we are in game number 4. That's right, the championship rounds. I'm Kyle Guy, going to be joined again by Rhyme Dota. And here we go, man. OG able to pull it off in game number 3 with another Drow lineup. We'll have to see how things change up going into game number 4. But as the draft starts, Wisp and Batrider go on the side of Elements, while OG continue to get rid of the Underlord and Darkseer. With the first pick, Elements opt for the Ogre, and then OG's first pick, Rhyme, they just go right into a Legion Commander, because why not?
Yep, LC Visage. So, recently in the games I've been seeing Legion in, people just generally seem to be going kind of phase, and actually Helm of the Dom has been, that's been picked up quite a bit, and then Blade Mail and Blinks and Shadowblade and so on and so forth, but just she seems to have done fairly well with the recent changes because she can go into the jungle, she can farm Ancients quite effectively when she gets like any kind of farm. She's reliable in the offlane, she's good in a lot of safe lane 1v1s, so I think she's a justifiable first pick, and I don't know what Elements are going to really pick against LC Visage, because I think the birds can kind of be a good follow-up for that. Oh, there we go.
Why not a Slark? It seemed to get them every win up to this point, so they don't opt to wait until the second phase this time. They just want to get it here and now. Do you think it's bold at all? I mean, we know Swift Ending is bold, yeah, one of the best in the game with it, but now you're kind of just, showing your hand early on and are at risk of going at some of the best counters. But hey, this guy plays enough Slark. I'm sure he's played enough games against the counters too. So
yeah, I'm just slightly worried when I see just like an LC in a Visage. Like, that Visage is probably when he gets farmed, like he's gonna get getting the medallion, solo crest. Like at some point in this Slark's life, if he's not careful, he's gonna get dueled by an LC with a blade mail up. And you can have your Soul Bridge, you can have your Echo Saber, but you will cease to exist if there's any kind of follow up. And like, it's just duel is just one of the best ways of dealing with him. You can't Dark Pact it off, you can't get away, so he's gonna have to play Slark with that hanging over his head. So let's see how it goes. They ban out the TA, and Elements decide to ban out the Terrorblade, so Elements don't really want to have any kind of hero that could be given over to OG, which they can 5-man with from their safe lane with. They might ban out the Drow as well. I'm probably expecting that, but maybe with the Slark they feel that they can deal with it. And OG go for their very typical like OD TA bans, just banning out Cold's Materas.
Yeah, I just want to get rid of whatever comfort heroes that OG might try to creep in on this one. Bans on the TA though. We saw Cole pick that up, I believe it was in their first game. And
I think it was, yes.
Had some good potential, snowballing out of control with that one. And then the OD's got to go here. Putting a lot of priority onto these mid lane heroes here. I don't know if that is any sort of tell onto what they're looking to go for or not, but for now, just kind of obviously prioritizing whatever it is. And it's hard to even gauge at this point who is even going to be really in the mid lane. I mean, depending on the hero, No Tail has shown that, if it's Alchemist or something, he could kind of take reign on that. So, I don't know. Do you think this could be an Alchemist kind of a game coming out from OG? They have shown that they're not afraid to pick it when a moment in need.
Well, before they picked it as a follow-up pick to a Shadow Demon, they did it in the face of Lion and Ogre, and they basically just took a lot of fights and he got picked off a lot. And I think if they just play it a little bit more carefully, like they just watch out, they protect the Alchemist, they don't really expose him when he's about to get that Radiance. He spent like 2 or 3 minutes just constantly dead before he even got that Radiance. So, yeah, I think it's a reasonable pick. It's okay with LC, it's okay with Visage. Like you can have basically the Immortal Alchemist who gets like solo crested by his Visage, and you save the Moment of Courage, or press the attack rather. You need to remember all these various ability names for LC, but you press the attack on him and he just becomes immortal. But Elements do in fact ban out the Drow, so they just don't want to deal with that again.
Yeah, maybe for the better, especially when a Visage is out there. I mean, now that we've come accustomed to the idea that Visage is pretty much could find his way into many lineups without having to be with his usual pairings. It's best to get rid of the Drow just in case, because Visage could benefit so much more from it. But here we go into the second phase now. Other solid picks we've seen teams go for against Slarks. What was it? Yesterday, Alliance tried to go for the Bloodseeker as a potential option. But Disruptor is also still in the pool and could be an option here. What do you think about Disruptor to pick up here going against the Slark? I forget
It's
that.
pretty good, but yep, no, it's just Warlock now. So the two supports for OG are pretty much decided, unless they go for a mid Visage, which people have gone saying like, oh, mid Visage is pretty good. Oh, I won with mid Visage in my pubs. Trying to say those two words is a bit of a tongue twister, but yeah. I think for the most part that's going to be their two supports, and maybe I've been really wanting to see people pick up Shadow Fiend, but I think it's in CM, right? Oh yeah, Alliance picked that up in some games on the very first day of the patch hitting.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see people pick SF, but I don't think either team is going to do it in this game.
Obviously, the OD ban kind of makes a bit more sense too if OG's intentions were to kind of move forward with this Warlock grab as well. I wouldn't mind seeing them get a bit more team fight to really take advantage of those bonds. I don't know if they want to go full blown like Venomancer or anything, but we could also see like. I love it. I mean, I know they've already just decided on their two supports. It's a shame because I feel like the opportunity to get Jarex on his Earth Spirit while they already have a Warlock would be pretty destructive in its own right, but it seems pretty obvious that it is going to be Jarex probably playing this Visage. Elements grab up their secondary support now to match against OG, and that's going to be the Witch Doctor here. Any significance to the Witch Doctor and why it's in play? I mean, Coconut, I believe. Now, I'll admit I'm not a big Visage player even before this patch, but I believe now you can probably cast Coconut on his birds, whereas you could not
yeah,
before.
They're magic. They're vulnerable to magic now.
So. Yeah, so it could come back to bite Visage in the ass, similar to how we see him pulled out against like lone druids and such. So I'm curious to see if we'll see any bird Coconut action as OG move forward into their Faceless Void grab.
Okay, so OG just picking a lot of heroes that just deal damage, and when they get a lot of farm, they can just kill Slark by themselves. Avoid with Manta Diffusal against an underfarm Slark. Slark just disappears. Okay, you've got the Timber now, so he lanes pretty well against the Void and the LC, so I don't think Elements are going to go aggro with this Ogre Witch Doctor, but they have the potential to, and just leave this Timber in a 1v1, which is favourable. Yeah, I'm just thinking now. But the Witch Doctor and Ogre are probably going to be securing the Slark's farm.
Yeah, they ran a dual lane earlier today with the Ogre, so I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility for them. Could just vary depending upon OG's final pick here, if they feel more comfortable putting Timber in just kind of a solo be on your own matchup, or if the Slark is going to be okay with just kind of one babysitter. Clockwork is going to get the band as they're trying to wager what the last offlane pickup is for Mitch. We've seen Mitch nearly every game play Nyx Assassin. Is there still room for a Nyx Assassin here? Or what did he play in the first game?
He played Pit Lord in the first game, and thereby inspiring the Pit Lord bans in all subsequent games. Underlord, sorry.
What else can Mitch go for then? We've only seen him play like Nyx and Underlord, I feel like almost every freaking game, even yesterday too.
Waiting to see really. I don't think Nyx is recommended in this game. Just too much stuff going on. These heroes are very tanky and hard to pick off. And there's not really much follow-up for a Nyx either way, so...
Yeah, it's a big team fight though, playing around a Chrono, playing around a Rock. Something to help deal with the Legion Commander. It's gonna be interesting.
I just think something low cooldown, something that can fight a lot. Thinking just like various things like Centaur is okay versus Warlock, and he's okay versus LC, things like that. You've got like decent itemization, but Mag, okay. There we go.
Oh, Mag and Slark together. I'm surprised we don't see this more often from Elements, considering how often they love to pull out the Slark, but I guess more often they found priority in obviously getting the Underlord, and Nyx Assassin seemed to have been fitting the bill before that, but now they have the punching gloves to be able to kind of accelerate Slark. So Slark now has Bloodlust and Empowered to kind of work with in this game. Final pickup from OG though is kind of a no-tail classic when he was really starting to grind out in his core position. A Death Prophet comes out. Does that say anything as far as the momentum to looking to try to pull out in this game? Does that say we're trying to push faster? I mean, Warlock, Death Prophet, Visage, these are pretty heavy push heroes. I know they don't have a Drow, but are they working with a similar timeline like that, or do they have other motives?
I think DP now, with like the addition of like Octarine Core and her itemization, has become a lot easier. She feels a lot more comfortable going into the mid to late game, and I think they've kind of given themselves a lot of ways to start off fights. They have Warlock as counter initiation, they've got Void to jump in, they've got duels so they can pick offs, and they've just generally got a lot of team fight damage. Elements, on the other hand, they feel like it's all basically on the Slark, and then Timbersaw can act as like a kind of buffer, and generally they just a lot of low cooldown stuff, and maybe an RP every now and again, but it's all about OG. They want to get the right fights, they want to get the pickoffs, but in general they feel very comfortable going to late game with Void and DP 2 core, and the LC, depending on how much farm he gets, might help along as well. But I think if Slark gets very, very far ahead, then OG will regret kind of letting this game go past like the 30-minute mark without taking a lot of towers.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it now. It is game number 4 of this Dota Pit Season 5 European Qualifier Final. I really hope I don't have to say that mouthful too many more times, but we could be treated to a 5-game series if OG do manage to keep this momentum going and extend this into a Game 4 and then Game 5 victory. But Elements, a team that we have not been able to see a whole lot in the LAN scene, if you will, taking it to the next level in competitive Dota. This could be one of their chances to be able to get into that limelight and try to make a name for themselves, be like the next Adfinem or such.
Well, they seem to have got a good grasp of this patch, or maybe it's the fact that their playstyle, which they were using before the patch, just generally transitioned very, very well into this current one. And I'm just noticing Notail is going to be playing mid, so first it was S4, then it was Notail, then it was S4, then it was Notail again. They're just kind of bouncing on and off between offlane and middle. So, it's quite interesting. Everyone is just shouting about how they're taking their bounty runes, and Trixie will be safe lane Void against the offlane Mag, so I think this is the lane where if Mag gets zoned out quite a bit, then I think he's going to have a hard time, but he should be okay, I think.
It's been a while since I've been treated to the offlane Magnus, but he is going to have a bit of an intriguing matchup here against Trixie's Faceless Void, and then with the Visage constantly poking at you, he had been able to get that ward down, or at least Gogi was able to get that ward down for him. But since then, Gogi has taken his presence up here to the top lane, and they've already surrounded S4 here. He's in trouble. He's dead. First blood, just like that. We weren't able to catch the start of that one, but maybe a lingering, surprising Gogi came out from the bushes or something. Totally caught S4 off guard. Maybe he just felt comfortable because they had this dual lane setup, but whatever the case may be, S4 is going to be the first victim.
Yep, I think Slark, Witch Doctor, Ogre, that is
overlay.
Really...
That's my bad, everyone. Yeah. It happens at least once a day. I know. I'm sorry, but it's up now. Go ahead and just chew me out. Let me have it. That's fine. Go on, Rhyme.
They may never forgive you. But Trixie is farming relatively well on this lane, and I was just saying Ogre, Witch Doctor, yeah, you don't really want to go aggressive against that, so it's rather good at killing people who dare to try and stop the Slark from farming. But the top farmer of this game is going to be Mitch and Notail, so those two together having a bit of a good time. Farm just generally seems quite even all around the map.
Yeah, it's breezing in for now, but YapzOr has been able to kind of creep on forward and be able to comfortably put down some of that vision here on the side to at least be able to see if there's any sort of roaming potential coming in from the Ogre and such. But Ogre's been on his own mission here. He wanted to head out for that 2-minute bounty rune on the side of OG and was able to snag it up. Has been a bit unfortunate for Swift Ending, though, because that's when the Fatal Bonds are starting to come out, and Swift Ending is going to get peppered up quite a bit and have to start going through the regen. But here's Gogi coming in from behind on the back of that bounty mission, and he's hoping to see if he can cut off YapzOr, but YapzOr waits and then decides to cut around the other side. Gets hit up with the Ignite. There's going to be the Coconut. No secondary bounces there, but Swift Ending is able to move in and get the Pounce connection. YapzOr, though, trying to just heal his way up and get as many hits in on Swift Ending as possible, but it's not going to be good enough. Swift Ending will now pop the salve and be able to heal himself square up, and that is going to be a 2-0 start for Elements Pro Gaming.
The only thing I'm worried about is, like, that's okay, like, they're pressuring the Slark, but they are feeding away kills. S4 and YapzOr, they're pretty much damaging their own farm by staying up here and dying like this, so they're not exactly having the best time with their lives. But mid lane, relatively even. Notail is expected to win this matchup. DP versus any kind of melee hero, even Timbersaw is quite favoured in her regard, but Mitch is just able to really abuse this lane, I think. He's probably going to get quite a lot here. Visage, not the best zoning support.
Yeah, fortunately, Mitch is going to be able to kind of do as he pleases here. I can't help but avert my eyes away from this top lane, though, as they contending for these side pull camps. It's been a struggle here for OG between Yapsor and S4, but without Gogi being able to be there and involved, we don't expect too much further aggression coming out from Elements on this one, and they'll kind of reset back. We'll touch base with the CS game that's been unfolding here in the mid lane between Cole and No-Tail. And No-Tail is still able to etch up pretty far ahead. This is Cole's chance, though, to catch up as No-Tail tried to double back for that bounty rune. But it'd been a while since we've been able to see some Death Prophet action here, Rhyme. Is essentially, even in 7.0, the objective still the same?
Yeah, I think so. It's like obtain a critical mass, like just take a few towers or try and get some objectives with your first few ultis. And then just try and get to the point where you get to the immortal, like, Octarine, Shiva's kind of death ball kind of thing. And he does pretty well in lane, but at this point Timbersaw is going to have free reign because he doesn't take damage anymore, because that's what the hero does. Yeah, but she's pretty much the same as ever.
Fatal Bonds, and then a nice little nuke comes out. Swift Ending is going to be eating a bit of damage here. They'll try to chunk through the creeps to see if they can get more damage onto him. At that same moment, though, is bottom lane. Jarex is going to be able to move in and get that kill onto Mitch, of course, right at that moment, and be able to bring him down. So, at least Jarex, even though he's been stereotyped as one not able to kind of be able to be too much of a bully as a laning support, this time they will be able to get the upper hand. Didn't even require a chrono to be online to get it done either.
Mitch he tried to skewer away, but he pulled the void with him, and then giving Jarex the vision to get the soul assumption. And then straight away they managed to pull into this triple stack, so Mitch has to expose himself to Jarex just to get any kind of this XP. But he's going to get that. He's going to get us level 5 uncontested, so he's not doing too badly here. I think the lanes are kind of a wash. OG seem to be doing better in CS overall, but I think in terms of support levels... Oh, No-Tail.
Oh, yeah, he runs right in, pops out the ulti, and then the Soul Siphon underway, and both supports are not liking this. They try to turn and run. They take out the Witch Doctor. Now they're looking to go for Gogi, and this one looks to be good too. No-Tail with the double kill. With his first rotation out from the mid lane, makes clean and easy work on the two supports, and will quickly get OG on the board with 2 kills.
Yep, there's a point where you just go for the arcane. You see her the arcane rune. You realize that you haven't stopped the DP from taking it. She takes it right in front of you, and you know exactly what's going to happen. She's going to pop ulti with the arcane rune, and she's going to follow you to the ends of the earth. So that's a bit rough. It's unfortunate for the main support rotation to be immediately punished by that, and No-Tail's doing quite well in terms of the gold department now. So look at the net worth now. He's sitting on top. He almost challenging the stack, but not quite. So Swift Ending.
That is a Warlock with little mana here, but No-Tail has not gone too far from this lane, and he is quick to just hustle right back in. Swift Ending is the focus of this one. S4 trying to rush in. Swift Ending, nice little maneuver to pounce up over the trees to make it away. Unfortunately for, little LeBron, he's going to be taken care of, and then there's the nuke to get the finish. Swift Ending also going to be going down. OG, start this one a bit slow, but quickly pull way in ahead now, 5-2. As it seems to be a bit of a struggle. Bottom lane ain't going any easier here. Trixie sets up the chrono onto Mitch. Mitch is going to hit with a soul assumption. A nice little bash. One more right click will do it. And they get it done. Trixie picks that one up. OG seriously on the up and up now, 6-2.
Yep. OG just taking control of the lanes. The redeeming factor now is Timbersaw is doing quite well. He basically got left alone, but DP made up for that. Oh, that hurt.
Hurt enough to force Cole out. He steps back, and OG can kind of continue their move into this tier 1 tower. And
yeah, so DP
defended.
just getting a lot done in the early game, just kind of saving this top lane, which seemed to be going quite wrong, but now Swift Ending's quite under pressure. He's behind the LC and the Void. And on the other side of the map, Mitch is just having quite a bit of trouble dealing with the bottom lane. So there's going to be a point where they can recover, Sark will get level 7 and start farming very quickly. Mag will start being able to empower him, and then the farm will accelerate overall. But I think with the ulti on DP being up right now, they're probably going to take this tier 1 bot, and then probably look towards taking other towers. So, not really looking that good for Elements right now.
No, it is not. This is definitely going to be one of the weakest early games we've been seeing from them, or at least the more difficult starts we've been seeing from Elements in these past 2 days. So, I don't know if it took a period of OG kind of getting warmed up for the day, or just throwing together some more synergetic drafts, whatever the case may be. OG definitely kind of off to a strong head start in this one, and it could be a bit demoralizing here. Elements, team that started with a nice 2-0 to this series, feeling really good, and now they see themselves in like one of their biggest deficits of any game so far. S4 is even going to be able to farm his way through the stack with the assistance of No Tail. His duel is online now, and that's when we can begin to funnel in some of that sweet extra damage.
Yeah, so Trixie just farming away. He's almost got his Vlad's 500 gold off. Gogi's going to be absorbing the XP down here, protecting this tower from threats home and abroad. Mitch, he's got his mana boots. He's getting close to level 7. They're probably going to put some effort into trying to protect this tower, but with Chrono up, it's still risky. There could just be a dive coming out, especially with a rock.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
There's the move on in. Yapsor faking with the rock a bit, being there as a backup for his team as they're looking to siege on in for this tier 1 Elements. Are they going to be looking to defend this one? I mean, Mitch is nearby. He has RP. Gogi also, but with only Ignite, that's not going to be good enough. En route, though, Cole is heading that way. My goodness, but Jarex is able to get the kill as top lane. They're the ones to converge in, and they quickly take out LeBron. We'll keep eyes on the bottom, though, as the ult continues here from the Death Prophet, looking to shred apart the remaining part of this tier 1 tower. Glyph is out, though, holds it back a bit. Cole's here now, but a hungry OG want to be able to get the finish. Swift Ending gets the takedown of Jarex, and finally the bubble breaks down here in the bottom lane. I knew a fight was eventually set to happen. There it is. It's quick and fast. Mitch goes down, and Elements will be able to deny the tower, and obviously at that same moment, top lane going for their own push here. Swift Ending was able to show up and at least get a little bit of redemption there, taking out Jarex.
So, honestly, Jarex had TP up that whole time. He could have just TP'd out, but he decided that he just wanted to run away, and I think that was a slight miscalculation. But Mitch is going to again pay with his life, but they did get the deny, so that isn't the worst thing in the world. Cole is still sitting at the top of the net worth. He's getting closer and closer to his Bloodstone. But what he needs to watch out for is he needs to constantly be in the back, because if he just gets rocked and silenced and dueled up, like, he is going to die very, very quickly, even if he does have full reactive armor stacks. So it's all about just controlling what they're exposing their Timber Saw to.
Jarex, though, confidently strutting him into this top lane, and Elements are going to be pushed back. Swift Ending, obviously, with a lot less farm than we're used to seeing him at this point into the game, as to get right back into the grind here in his jungle. But OG are looking to restrict as much of the map available to him as fast as possible here, as they're already looking to make their move, and they'll get their second tier 1 tower. S4 gets the last hit. It's an extra 200 gold that's going to be granted his way. Still level 8 and yet to kind of get any extra dual damage, but I'll wager that is a trend that's going to be stopping here soon enough. How is our boy No Tail doing over here? He's got that Vite booster. I mean, we used to see Rada Atos as a popular option for Death Prophet at times. Do you think it's more of a popular option now with its recent changes, or, you know, does he still need to consider getting like the Yules or anything like that?
Well, he's bought up one of the extra stuff, so he's going to go for the Atos, and I think it's pretty good. I think as long as it's not Dark Pact off, it stops the Pounce from Slark. I think it also stops the Change from Timbersaw, because Roots stop any movement abilities. I remember someone playing Sand King wondering why Pit Lord was stopping him from using his stun. That's something that can happen.
There's our first duel. It's quick and fast, and LeBron goes down. Jarex will get the last hit on that one, while S4 is able to pick up the damage. But this is going to be another tier 1 tower, easily claimed by OG. Bit frantic feeling here for Epi. Or Epi. Elements. But now they move on in. Tier 2, I mean, you got the ultimate still up, why not? OG figured that they could soften this one up as much as possible. You know, Mitch is waiting back a bit with his arcanes, but, you know, until he gets a Blink Dagger, it's not going to be easy to get any sort of big RP movement. They might just have to try to stall things out and wait until Swift Ending can hit like a truck with the help of the Empower and just try to make something work on the back end of a big team fight. But even now we see Swift Ending trying to farm, but yeah, he's rushing out as fast as possible. The team is on the chase. There's the jump in from Trixie, and there's going to be the chrono. A little coconut from LeBron helps a bit, but eventually they will just move in with that new duel and slash him down. That is going to be a big win for him, and there is going to be the drop of the rock as they move on in. LeBron could be set to go down, quickly gets the heal up, and steps on back, but the chase continues with Trixie. Time walking on in further. Mitch being chased away from birds. OG just kind of owning the territory now and forcing Elements out and away. There is some more stun lockdown here. Another bash. Cole able to kind of get a brief Timber Chain away, but the tick of the Fatal Bonds continues to grow here. There are heals, though, coming out from the Witch Doctor, and it looks like that will be able to keep them alive. OG happy to dance behind this tier 2, but still just well in control of this game 4.
Swift Ending just needs to get to that Shadow Blade. He needs to get the Empower and the Bloodlust. It needs to get to the point where he just doesn't have to worry about getting dueled, but he just doesn't have enough health, really. Maybe when he gets his Echo Saber and his Silver Edge, like, he's going to be able to survive a lot of this stuff, but right now, he's very, very vulnerable. But they're going to smoke around, maybe catch Jerax or Yapzor.
Jump in, Yapzor, the easiest target here, will end up going down. They're happy to get that pick. OG, frantic to make their way out. Trixie within the trees, will be able to make the TP out. Not going to get grabbed. Was that an RP used? No, it was pump fake.
No, hesitation.
A bit. But LeBron on the way back. Jerax looking to make chase. Hits him with the nuke. Not going to be good enough. He turns around and drops down the ulti, and that's going to be good enough for Elements to swarm on in. They will grab 2 forgiving pickoffs on those supports. I mean, with the advantage OG have, it will hand over, you know, a little bit of a net worth swing, but obviously at this point in the game, Elements are going to need a lot more than that to really get back into this one. Bottom lane, No Tail's already going back to work. He has that Atos. Test it out onto Mitch. Lets him know, hey, I got this item now.
So he's getting closer and closer to Dagger on the side of Mitch. The Timbersaw, he's very, very close to... Actually, he's got gold for his Bloodstone now, so he's going to go pick that up relatively shortly. And LeBron, well, sometimes you just got to buy a Raindrop and a Mango and be happy with your lot in life. But, yeah. I think this game, they have to be careful, because if they keep feeding away kills, like even if they take towers like that, it's one of those games for Slark where the enemy don't have a huge amount of burst damage. Admittedly, there's a Chrono and Duel, but that's outside of those, you can kind of control how much damage you're taking. So it's very easy to know when you have to Dark Pact, when you have to use your ulti. You don't have to worry about like getting caught out a lot of the time. And they just don't have that much burst on the side of OG, so...
Gogi rooted down, jump in from Trixie now. Not going to take a whole lot of extra commitment, just some muscle power to be able to break through that thick skin, and Ogre will go down. 11-5 now, OG on the up and up, as Elements supports are just trying to keep these lanes pushed out little by little. Swift Ending is able to get a Shadow Blade, but normally, you know, Rhyme, when we see Swift Ending in these kind of games as his Slark, by the time he gets his Shadow Blade, we're like, okay, now he's going to go on the move and he's going to start killing. Right now I see a Shadow Blade as an easier way to make it out from trouble in this game. It's not going to be any easy pick-off opportunities. OG are already coming. They're knocking at the front door. The DP ult is out, and this Tier 3 is in trouble.
Yep, LC picking up the Blade Maul very soon as well. That's going to be a thing. Manta Style coming out for the Void, but that's a long way away, but he's going for it. It's just, yeah, this is the Yapzor going for his Midas. Jerax, he's almost got his Solar Crest. There's a lot of farm on a lot of heroes on OG, and they're not afraid to 5-man, which is the Slark's nightmare, really. When the enemy supports can't be killed in a single pounce, that's when you're starting to have trouble, and when they're just grouping up a lot, that's when Slark really, he's at his weakest. So, nightmare scenario for Swift Ending, but Mag's got his dagger now, the Bloodstone is out on the Timbersaw, and they're probably going to go for a smoke fairly soon. And there we go.
And it looks like OG just make that full movement here to the bottom, but okay. Elements. How important is this smoke? I mean, it has been a long time coming to be able to try to make any sort of serious relative team fight here for Elements. This might be their best chance.
They need to catch either one or both of the supports, and then once that happens, they don't really have to worry about too much after that. Because the LC, just by himself, doesn't do very much. The DP, very clunky. Does have a haste rune, but... Oh, they're gonna... Still undetected for now, but... Yeah, they decide they don't get anything with that. They push out the lanes. Jerax forcing them back to the tier 3. And this is going to leave them open to use the DP ult to take this tier 2 if they need to.
Here they come. I mean, Exorcism is out, but I don't think OG even feel like it's necessary here. They could just save it for when they have to siege into the high ground. They did a nice job avoiding the trouble of elements and their smoke gank, whether it was intentional or not. And that will conclude all the outer towers here for OG. So they just immediately beeline it back for the shrine to get an extra 150 gold. And if they want, they could just beeline it as they've drawn on the map here across the mid lane after pushing it back out a bit and just go for the other shrine.
Smoke, but
maybe they can catch him on the way across. I think that's what Elements might be considering here. You know, OG might try to go for our other shrine. Maybe we can catch him on the way. Here they are now. Oh, they might get a good jump. It's going to be on Yapzor first. Does he go for the rock? He does. He just drops it thinking that the team is going to be there as a backup to make a fight happen. Crone's going to be committed, but Witch Doctor drops the Death Ward. Jump in duel. Good RP. But they are going to get the duel victory, and then the follow-up takedown. Magnus just charges his way into the grave, and that is going to be 3 taken down from Elements just like that. The rest of them frantic to make it back inside their home, but that might not come easy here. S4 is right on his tail. Turnaround stun. Cole, okay. Boom. Jump in. Take apart that LC, but okay. He just lost his own life trying to go for that one. And No-Tail, the real raid boss in this game, moves on forward, doing a little bit of that sucky action there. Gogi's still living on though. LeBron, they're just trying to coax him into the base even further, but OG not scared to make the dive. They will finally get Gogi down. A follow-up set of familiar stuns will be there for the Witch Doctor, and he will also be dropped. OG now can look to just reset and go back for the towers here, but now the cores are coming back and alive. The return of Swift ending now. And OG are very low and weak. They're trying to run back out. Here goes Swift Ending. He wants the big grab, and Trixie. He's going to be going down. No-Tail now set to TP out. Not going to be able to make it away. OG in a serious wild goose chase inside the base of Elements does cause them to lose a few lives here, Rhyme. They were not able to do a whole lot of work onto that tier 3. I mean, I would imagine that those couple of losses aren't going to be too detrimental to them, but when you look at the fight recap, holy shit, it's a 5-6 trade.
Yeah, that fight was something. Ogre, he's working towards the Solar Crest now. I think he benefited overall from that because he bought back like with a relatively low timer, so he got gold quite quickly after that. Yeah, it's pretty good for them, I think. Slark now sitting on top of net worth. He's got his Echo Saber. He's still very vulnerable to dying because you saw in that fight, like, they stopped all the damage, but as soon as the chrono ended, LC just pops Blade Mail, blinks, and Slark's just dead. No one can save him, no one can help him. So, hopefully they can stop that situation happening again. Honestly, this is the bit where it gets dangerous now. Like, OG, they've tried to go high ground, they got baited into diving, like, shrine after shrine. They lost, like, they used ability after ability, and then eventually got worn down. And this is the bit where they have to start wondering, like, the mag is starting to get bigger, he's going for his own Echo Saber, he's going to start farming, he's going to actually be able to do stuff in this game by himself. Like, being RP'd and getting caught and just hit by the mag is going to become a concern. But they still do have Midas up on Yapzor, they have S4 who's doing pretty well, looking towards the BKB, the Manta coming up very shortly on Void, and No-Tail, he's going straight for an Octarine, so when they get these items, that's when it's really going to be up to Elements to actually do almost a perfect team fight.
Yeah, I mean, that last fight went pretty well from them. It was only because OG were kind of frantic to move inside the base, and the start of that fight was just kind of what almost felt like a throwaway chaotic offering. Like, imagine if OG kind of had all hands on deck for an at-attendance fight. It's pretty obvious that Elements would be pretty outmatched, but you know, it's on Elements then to kind of open up those new opportunities, whether it be with smokes or what, to be able to kind of get those pickoffs and just inch themselves back into net worth relevance, if you will. Slark, though, still sitting at the top of the net worth, though. Him and Cole, man. Credit to them, even though a game where it seems like OG have been kind of heavy in favor in farm overall, they still continue to kind of sit there at the top.
Yep, Slark's getting closer to a Silver Edge. What he can do, if he does feel fancy, is he can wait and wait. You can react just in time when Elsie's about to duel you by just pressing Silver Edge. It's doable, and then you stop yourself taking a huge amount of damage from Blade Mail because Silver Edge will reduce that. So he can stay alive that way. He can play very carefully. The only thing he really needs to watch out for is getting chronoed and then getting fatal bonded, or getting just dueled by the blade mail. And Roche for the side of
yeah,
OG.
they're in there. It's almost down, but I mean, elements are just outside here. The timing could be a bit scary here for OG. Well, they smoke right outside. I don't think they know this is happening. Okay, now they do. Jump in. There's going to be the duel. They're looking to go for Cole on this one, but he's very tanky. I don't think he's going to be dying at the back end of this duel. They move in. Roche goes down to the Dire, but Mitch denies the Aegis and takes it away from OG. Huge chrono, though, will come out from Trixie, and No Tail is going to be able to shred him apart with the help of that Exorcism. Gogi now on the other side looking to run out from one end. LeBron being chased from the other. Now rooted down by No Tail. He frantically tries to make it back away, but it's not going to be any good. On the other side, Swift ending here. Waiting, knows he can't fight into this Exorcism, but to the credit of Elements, they deny OG that Aegis. And hold
That
on.
was a very strange way of taking the fight for OG. They see the timber, they go, okay, we're just going to pop DPLT and duel him. He sits there with his plate mail and his bloodstone just going, alright. Just sits there, just twiddles his thumbs a little bit and then just walks off. And Slark just goes into the Roche pit, kills a support. Warlock bought back and then wasn't able to use his rock, so he's just kind of set back a little bit now. And Slark just ascending into the heavens in terms of net worth. He's got his Silver Edge now, he's looking towards his Lincoln Sphere, and once he gets that, they're basically completely reliant on getting a lot of damage in that Chronosphere.
That shrine is not easy to take down, as OG are learning. Know they were doing it under the vision of the ward, and know that's taken a bit too long. They fear Elements could rotate on top of that shrine quick. But once they're able to get more hands and assistance, they'll be able to head back for it and take it off the map now.
So, Slark is, he's just powerful. Bloodlusted empowered Slark with with his double 3 LT, he can go in and out of fights very, very quickly. He's got Silver Edge, working towards Lincoln's. We can't really overstate how strong he is. S4, he's working towards his BKB, almost 1k gold for that. No Tail's about to pick up Octarine Core, and then he becomes a lot more difficult to deal with. And I'm just looking towards Jarek, because he's finished his Atos and he's actually working towards a Deso, so he is going to become actually one of the main damage dealers, because Void, he's not really able to hit people very often. He's kind of the one who's meant to be hitting the Slark during the Chrono, but it doesn't really feel that effectual. So, Jarek is going to kind of be stepping it up, I think.
What about Cole? We looked at Swift ending, we looked at a couple of the cores of OG. Cole still sits up there, second in net worth, better than everyone else on OG. Got the Lotus Orb. You know, whether it be to help remove the root or silence him.
Yeah. He can just dispel off the Atos and then he just kind of walks off home free, so...
There we go. There's an
There we go.
example A. I mean, the projectile, you can see it. I wonder if you could, you know, just quick time the Lotus and reflect back.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
If it's from the max distance of Atos, I see no reason why. Like, it's well within the abilities of these players to do that. And but I'm not sure, like, you want to risk just having the slow effect here. I think you just definitely want to keep it for the dispel. S4's on the hunt with his invis, but Swift Ending knows something's up. He sees he's detected. He assumes there's a ward, but it's actually just S4 walking around. And No Tail pops his ulti with an Arcane Rune, who... Yeah, he just gets these quite a lot, apparently.
Will be nice. His new ulti is just about a minute, but by the time this one concludes, it feels like it'll be up in just a moment's time as they begin their slow siege in. A lot, you know, a bit more difficult than it would have been if they were able to acquire that Aegis, but again, credit to Elements to be able to deny him that one. The siege process is a little more difficult than they would like, but No Tail's persistent, man. Keeps shoving himself back into that mid lane, trying to get as many shots in as possible. While this happens, Swift Ending continues to push out that bottom lane. He will be able to get the pressure towards the side of OG's base.
He's got his Linkers now, so gonna sell his stick, pick that up, and then he is, for all intents and purposes, immortal outside of being focused with the DPLT and the Visage inside a Chronosphere. And credit to OG if they can manage to do all that.
I mean, Swift Ending has been nursing his Slark for quite a while now. Normally we get to see him in fighting form much sooner, but here he's finally been able to kind of accumulate all the items he would ask for at this point. And yeah, that Lincoln's kind of being the cherry on top. Should be able to help him in a lot of these skirmishes. And I don't know, is that enough for Elements overall to be going on the offensive here, or are they just looking to... Okay.
Very much so.
Alright then.
He's going to be looking for anyone he can find.
Let's see what he can find here. Bottom lane, he might be coming across a certain No Tail here. Very close, but Okay, they will see each other now. Quick jump over, no tail. We'll quickly learn
And
that there's
he's
a
off.
Lincoln's now.
So yeah, he can just do that now. He has the ability. Once he's going for a Skadi, once he gets that, he's just going to get tankier and tankier and tankier. Like, the onus isn't on for him to kill members of OG. He doesn't need to do that. All he needs to do is just survive the initial few ultis. Once that happens, OG just don't have anything to fight with. So, that's all he needs to worry about. And he does enough damage anyway. He doesn't have to build damage items. He can just get bloodlusted and empowered. And he's already the hardest hitting Slark you've ever seen, so... But the only thing I'm kind of worried about is look at LeBron. LeBron is, he's had a rough game. He's had a very rough game. His early game got mauled by a Death Prophet. His mid game got ruined by a Legion Commander. And in these fights, he just keeps getting rocked and killed by a Visage, so... He's working towards an Aghanims, but... At this point, I think he's just working towards his next set of wards, actually.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if there are like some tomes in the shop. Oh, I see, but it doesn't let me know if there is
the
any
courier.
available. But looks like their courier will get sniped down here as deep diving Yapzor will plant down a nice deep ward towards this mid lane. Swift ending, looking to get the jump on the Jerix, won't quite get the finish. Now looks to run back the other way. S4 running on in, but there is that Lincoln, so yeah, I don't think you just want to straight up try to duel him. So
I
I'll
mean,
let that one slide.
he could do, just to show that he can, just to assert dominance, just I
Sure.
can break your Lincolns if I want to. I've got the... Like, he wasn't going to use his duel for anything else for the next 40 seconds, so why not? Challenge into a fight. Slark might say no and decide to walk off. So, it's another ulti for another mid-tower push.
Let's see.
They're probably going to get it this time.
Yeah, they'll definitely get the tier 3, it looks like here, as Elements are
Dire's middle tower has
looking to bring everyone in attendance now. It's defensive time here for Elements. Swift ending, though, creeping in from behind. Could spot Yapzor here. Oh, he spots S4 instead. Looks to go on the jump on that mark. And as he tries to run up back and above, no tail caught inside the base. They will commit the chrono for Swift ending here. And they just need a bit more. Nah, Lotus Orb is not going to be good enough. The follow-up is going to be an RP. They drag him up inside the base, but the rock's going to get dropped from Yapzor, and he continues to unleash now the upheaval. And they are not going to be able to run out from this one. Cole slowly being brought down and apart. The machine will begin to crumble as the jump in will be there from Trixie. He's able to get the cleanup, a 3-for-1 trade. Now looking for Gogi. While this happens, No Tail gets the finish onto LeBron and then sets back for what's important. Mid lane racks down. No Tail still inside. Buybacks begin to come out. There's the jump in. A skewer all the way back. This one should get the finish onto No Tail. Cole, though, looking for Jerix now. And there's going to be the root from Jerix to kind of slow his pace. Jerix and Trixie could leave arm in arm, but Jerix feels confident with the Fatal Bonds, and with some nuke power, they can get Magnus down, and they will. That's his dieback. Swing and a miss on Cole's Timber Chain here, and now he's surrounded by 2 and a Golem, and he's going to be brought down. That is a full 5-man wipe on the side of Elements. OG will be able to stand strong and move back inside. There is still one more Rax in this mid lane that they're going to look to clear out.
under attack.
And unfortunately for
Not gonna
OG,
claim
and
vengeance.
unfortunately for Swift ending, he tried to come in from behind, almost was able to spot out Yapzor, but settled for S4 and eventually just got swarmed on.
They don't lose Rex. That's the important thing. Like,
Yeah.
Cole might have died quite a lot. I think, yeah, he died back there. I think also, I don't know if the Ogre did as well. I'm just gonna check buybacks. Yeah, we got two buybacks there. The dieback. I don't know if Witch Doctor died again, but yeah. So basically, everyone apart from Slark just got a lot poorer in that period. So again, it's just he got caught and then he got time dilated, and he was sitting on half health, but he just couldn't Dark Pact, he couldn't pounce, he couldn't use anything. And if Timbersaw was closer, if he could Lotus Orb, the Slark would have been fine, but with those slows and with the Visage kind of beating away at him, Swift Ending could not quite live. But they still have more opportunities, like, they can still win this game.
Roll out now from Elements here as they smoke up. Trying to get something going. We'll see if they can get a surprise onto OG. Jerix has been spotted. He spots them, though, at that same moment. Back at mid lane, No Tail spots out Gogi. And they'll be able to get that takedown jump in. Oh, nice chrono, though. But there is going to be a Death Ward on the outside, and that will quickly blast through and take out No Tail. Follow-up RP is going to be there from Elements. Jerix, though, going in onto Mitch, will be able to get that finish. Now Swift Ending is going to be the next target between these three, and he will also go down. Ultra kill for Trixie. The Silent Warrior, man, he had not been able to have too much of a namesake in this series, but here in game number 4, sealing the deal with a couple of clutch chronos, and now that will lead to the takedown of the Rax in the mid lane, and he's happy to bully back the rest. Yapsor, who had been pocketing that chaotic offering, will commit it in now and get the finish on the swift ending. He is out of this game for 90 seconds, and it looks like we're going to be going to a game number 5 for the, well, European qualifier final. What a treat.
Yep, OG just taking a strong advantage from very early on. It looked like they were making a comeback. They had an empowered Bloodlusted Slark, but they just had a lot of stuff on OG, and it was just again and again siege after siege, and it just took one mistake. Swift Ending got caught out without the help of his team, and then everything just kind of went downhill from there.
It's got to be
they
a
almost
bit,
equalized it, but yeah.
It's got to be a little demoralizing for Elements now. You're talking about a best-of-5 series where they started very, very strong, taking pretty much the first 2 games convincingly. Now it's been OG just kind of on the bounce back. This game, one of the more dominating performances. Got to be curious where Elements' head is going to be at going into Game 5, because I look at their lineup and, you know, these are pretty good comfort picks for Elements. You get the Swift Ending Slark again. We know Cole to play good Timber, Gogi on his Ogre. I mean, where do we go from here if you're Elements trying to approach a game number 5 against OG, who are now starting to warm up and look pretty good?
Well, I think the main problem is they were so dependent on picking that Slark that they second picked it into an LC, and there was just a point where Slark was about to start snowballing, and then he just got dueled by an LC with Blade Mail, and then it just stopped. And then there was a time like he kind of started catching up again, but it just wasn't quite enough. And I think they're so focused on picking their comfort picks that they're not really like picking the optimal hero for a situation, if there is indeed an optimal hero for a situation. So, and OG just seem to be kind of picking what's best, whereas Elements, they're just kind of reverting back to what they feel safe with.
We'll have to see if they do something a bit different or not in game number 5, but it's one game at the end of the day that will decide which of these 2 teams will travel out to Croatia to compete at the Dota Pit LAN. I'm Kyle Guy, that's Rhyme Dota, and we'll be back after a small break for game number 5 of the Dota Pit Season 5 European Qualifier Final. We'll see you soon.
Gaming Bets, online betting for every esports fan. Dota 2 and Hearthstone, CSGO and Overwatch, StarCraft 2, the choice is yours. Express bets for multiple matches or live bets on the game you are watching right now. Know your way around Dota 2? Make a prediction for picks and bans. Playing CSGO? Guess the number of rounds in a certain match. Daily quests for all participants and all the best choice of payment systems. More than 600,000 users have already made their bets on the spectacular matches since 2011. EGB.com. You know for sure who's gonna win.